Welcome back, adventurers, to part 2 of the Arathi Highlands lore. Arathi, a land of rolling hills, ancient ruins, and unrelenting conflict. From the Cataclysm's aftermath, the brutal battle for Stromgarde, this region has weathered the storms of Azeroth's history. Join us as we dive into the epic saga of Horde invasions, Alliance resilience, and the rise and fall of undead princes. Whether it's the Forsaken's sinister schemes, the Dwarves' ingenious tunnels, or the clash of titans in the Fourth War, Arathi's story is one of chaos, purge, and conquest. Join me and let's explore the legacy of this enduring battlefield together. Cataclysm. The Arathi Highlands, unlike its neighboring territories of the Hillsbrad foothills and the wetlands, emerged from the Cataclysm remarkably unscathed. While the shattering of Azeroth tore through much of the eastern kingdoms, flooding the wetlands with brackish tides and leaving Hillsbrad a scarred battleground, the Highlands stood as an enduring bastion of stability. Its rolling hills, semi-arid plains, and ancient ruins remained largely untouched by geological upheavals that reshaped the world, preserving the region's rugged character and historical weight. Yet, this reprieve from natural disaster did not shield the Highlands from the intensifying struggles of its mortal inhabitants. As the dust of the Cataclysm settled, the region's strategic importance drew new incursions from both Horde and Alliance, each seeking to exploit its relative stability in the wake of broader chaos. The Horde, emboldened by their recent triumphs in the Hillsbrad foothills, where they had crushed Alliance resistance and cemented their dominance under Forsaken leadership, turned their gaze towards the Arathi Highlands. Flushed with victory, they pushed across the western border, establishing a fortified camp just beyond the edge of Hillsbrad's contested fields. This outpost, bristled with barricades and Forsaken alchemy tents, served as a staging ground for probing incursions into the Highlands, testing the resolve of its defenders. Hammerfall, already a Horde stronghold in the northeast, provided a complementary anchor, allowing the Horde to exert pressure from multiple fronts. Their intent was clear: to expand their foothold into Arathi, leveraging their momentum to challenge the Alliance's tenuous grip on the region. On the Alliance side, the Dwarves of Ironforge, ever industrious and resourceful, seized the opportunity presented by the Cataclysm's aftermath to enhance their connectivity across the Highlands. From their foothold near Stromgarde Keep, they set their picks and ingenuity to work, burrowing a deep, winding pass through the towering mountains that separated Arathi from the hinterlands to the north. This engineered marvel, carved with dwarven precision, opened a direct route from the rear of Stromgarde Keep to Faldir's Cove, a secluded coastal inlet along the Highlands' southern shore. The new passage not only bolstered the Alliance's ability to reinforce Stromgarde, but also facilitated trade and troop movements between the Highlands and the wilds of the hinterlands, strengthening their regional network in the face of growing Horde aggression. Near the Thandal Span, the monumental Dwarven bridge spanning the gap between Arathi and the wetlands, another shift unfolded. The Dark Iron Dwarves, known for their fiery temperament and shadowy affiliations, had once maintained a camp in the shadow of the span's towering arches. Post-Cataclysm, however, they withdrew from their exposed encampment, retreating deeper into the structure itself, perhaps into hidden chambers or fortified recesses within its stonework. In their absence, the abandoned camp found new life under the stewardship of an outgoing Dark Iron entrepreneur. This enterprising figure transformed the site into a bustling hub of commerce, offering wares and services to travelers and soldiers alike. His presence injected a rare note of neutrality into the Highlands' fractious landscape, a friendly outpost amid the tension, though his dark iron heritage hinted at potential ulterior motives lurking beneath his pleasant demeanor. The Forsaken, meanwhile, emerged as a sinister force in the Highlands' evolving struggle. Fresh from their conquest of Hillsbrad, where their plagues and necromantic might had laid waste to human resistance, they now cast their hollow eyes towards Arathi. Driven by Sylvanas Windrunner's unrelenting ambition, the undead sought to extend their dominion over the Highlands, viewing it as a critical step in securing the eastern reaches of Lordaeron for the Horde. Their campaign was bolstered by an unlikely and chilling ally, Galen Trollbane, the fallen prince of Stromgarde. Once a defender of his people, Galen had been slain and raised into undeath by the Forsaken during their earlier conquest for the blade of Troll Kalar. Now a twisted shadow of his former self, he lent his intimate knowledge of Stromgarde's defenses and terrain to the Forsaken's cause, aiding their effort to seize control of his ancestral homeland. His betrayal, compounded by the revelation of his patricide against King Thoraz, cast a dark pall over the Highlands, turning a once noble lineage into a tool of the undead. Though the Cataclysm spared the Arathi Highlands its physical wrath, the region's post-Cataclysm era was anything but tranquil. The Horde's border camp and Hammerfall tightened their grip from the east and west, while the Alliance's Dwarven Pass and revitalized Stromgarde defenses shored up their southern and northern lines. The Dark Iron Entrepreneur's camp near Thandal Span offered a fleeting respite, but the Forsaken's insidious advance, spearheaded by the corrupted Galen Trollbane, loomed as an ever-present threat. The Highlands, reserved in form yet besieged by ambition, remained a crucible of conflict, a land where the echoes of its storied past collided with the grim realities of a fractured present, its fate hanging in the balance as factions vied for supremacy. Legion. In the turbulent aftermath of the Cataclysm, the Arathi Highlands bore witness to a dramatic upheaval chronicled as the Ruined Kingdom, a chapter that saw the fallen prince Galen Trollbane assert his dominion in a bid to reclaim Stromgarde's legacy, albeit through the grim lens of undeath. Once a pawn of the Forsaken, raised by their necromantic arts to serve Sylvanas Windrunner's designs, Galen severed his ties with the undead faction that had both cursed and empowered him. Driven by a twisted mixture of ambition, vengeance, and a lingering claim to his ancestral throne, he turned against his former masters. Rallying an army of undead loyalists, corpses of fallen Stromgarde soldiers, and other wretched souls bound to his will, Galen launched a campaign to wrestle Stromgarde Keep and its surrounding territories from the hands of the Syndicate and the Boulder Fist Ogres, who had long exploited the kingdom's decline. Galen's forces, bolstered by his intimate knowledge of Stromgarde's fortifications and the relentless ferocity of the undead, proved a formidable foe. The Syndicate, a loose coalition of rogues and exiled nobles, relied on stealth and treachery, but faltered against the unyielding tide of walking corpses that assaulted their holdings. Stromgarde Keep, its once proud walls already marred by years of neglect and prior sieges, fell swiftly as Galen's minions overwhelmed the Syndicate's defenses, driving them from the southwestern heart of the Highlands. The Boulder Fist Ogres, entrenched in their crude encampments across the central and eastern regions, posed a sterner challenge with their brute strength and territorial stubbornness. Yet even they succumbed to the relentless onslaught, their hovels overrun by skeletal warriors and ghouls that knew neither fear nor fatigue. By the campaign's end, Galen had reclaimed much of Stromgarde's former domain, save for the eastern woodlands where the Witherbark forest trolls held sway. These cunning trolls, masters of guerrilla warfare, repelled the undead incursions with ambushes and traps, maintaining their grip on their shadowed domain. For a fleeting moment, it seemed that Galen Trollbane, now a deathly sovereign, might restore some semblance of order to the ruined kingdom. Yet his reign, built on the bones of betrayal and necromancy, proved short-lived, as a new and devastating force descended upon the Highlands, the Knights of the Ebon Blade. This order of Death Knights, forged in the crucible of the Lich King's downfall and bound by their own code of retribution, took umbrage at Galen's actions. Having once allied with him to secure Stromgarde against the Forsaken, the Ebon Blade now viewed his secession and consolidation of power as a dangerous overreach. To them, Galen was not merely an usurper, but a threat to their delicate balance they sought to maintain in a world already scarred by undeath. Moreover, the revelation of his patricide, the murder of his father, Thoras Trollbane, fueled their resolve to end his reign, seeing him as a mirror of the corruption they had once served under Arthas. The Knights of the Ebon Blade struck with merciless precision, their rune blades gleaming with dark frost as they marched into the Highlands. Galen's undead forces, though numerous, were ill-prepared for the Death Knight's mastery of necromantic power and martial prowess. Stromgarde Keep became the epicenter of a brutal clash, its crumbling ramparts bearing witness to the grotesque civil war of the undead. The Ebon Blade's warriors carved through Galen's minions with ruthless efficiency, their ability to raise and control the fallen turning the prince's own tactics against him. In a final, desperate stand, Galen faced his former allies, his spectral form wielding the cursed blade troll Kalar in defiance. Yet his treachery and hubris sealed his fate. The Death Knights overwhelmed him, shattering his undead essence and leaving his forces in disarray. The Witherbark trolls, seizing the chaos, launched their own raids, further decimating the remnants of Galen's army until little remained but scattered bones and fading echoes of his ambition. The fall of Galen Trollbane and his undead legion plunged Stromgarde and the broader Arathi Highlands into a state of profound uncertainty. The Syndicate, though battered, lingered in the shadows, poised to reclaim lost ground. The Boulder Fist Ogres, diminished but unbroken, retreated to their eastern holdings, nursing grudges and awaiting opportunity. The Witherbark Trolls tightened their hold on the forest, their numbers swelled by the power vacuum. Stromgarde Keep, now a hollowed ruin stripped of its latest master, stood as a somber monument to the kingdom's enduring strife. The Knights of the Ebonblade, their grim task complete, withdrew from the Highlands, leaving no claimant to the throne and no clear victor in the region's ceaseless struggles. For the people of Arathi, be they Alliance defenders at Refuge Point, Horde warriors at Hammerfall, or the scattered survivors of Stromgarde's legacy, the future loomed as a question mark, the Ruined Kingdom a testament to the fleeted nature of power in a land forever marked by conflict. Before the storm. The Gathering unfolded as a pivotal and ultimately tragic event in the Arathi Highlands, set against the backdrop of the region's western reaches, midway between the crumbling bastion of Stromgarde Keep and the ancient, weathered expanse of Thoradin's Wall. This historic meeting was conceived as a rare moment of reconciliation, a fragile attempt to bridge the chasm between living and the undead, specifically the humans of the Alliance and their estranged kin among the Forsaken of the Horde. The location, steeped in the legacy of human unity under King Thoradin and the Arathor Empire, carried symbolic weight, its open fields offering a neutral ground for such a delicate endeavor. The event drew participation from both factions, Forsaken who yearned to reconnect with their past lives, and Alliance representatives who sought to heal old wounds left by the Scourge and the Third War. At the heart of the gathering stood Kalia Menenthal, the last surviving heir of Lordaeron's royal line and sister to the fallen Lich King Arthas. Having escaped the destruction of her kingdom and lived in obscurity, Kalia emerged as a figure of hope, her presence lending legitimacy to the Alliance's outreach. Her intent was noble, yet perilous, to encourage the Forsaken attendees, many of whom had once been citizens of Lordaeron, to defect from the Horde and rejoin their human kin under the Alliance banner. For some of the undead, the sight of Kalia, a living remnant of their lost homeland, stirred long dormant emotion, igniting whispers of dissent against their war chief, Sylvanas Windrunner. The Forsaken participants, torn between loyalty to their Dark Queen and the pull of their former lives, wavered as Kalia's words took root, promising a return to a humanity they had thought forever lost. What began as a tentative step toward unity spiraled into catastrophe. Sylvanas, ever vigilant and ruthless in her grip of the Forsaken, had dispatched agents to monitor the gathering from afar. When reports reached her of Kalia's incitement and the defections that followed, small groups of Forsaken breaking ranks to approach the Alliance lines, her response was swift and merciless. Viewing the event as a direct threat to her authority and the cohesion of the Horde, Sylvanas ordered a brutal purge. Dark Rangers and elite Forsaken enforcers descended upon the Western Highlands, their arrows and blades cutting down every Forsaken participant without hesitation. Kalia herself, caught in the chaos, fell to Sylvanas' wrath, her nascent dream of reconciliation extinguished in the hail of violence. The fields between Stromgarde Keep and Thoradin's Wall, once a place of tentative hope, became a slaughterhouse, the air thick with the cries of the betrayed and the stench of renewed death. The Alliance, stunned by the ferocity of Sylvanas' retaliation, could do little but mourn the aftermath. The bodies of the slain Forsaken, those who had dared to reach for a different fate, were gathered by the Alliance hands and laid to rest in a quiet graveyard within the Arathi Highlands. This somber burial ground, nestled among the region's hills, became a poignant marker of the gathering's failure. Its simple markers a testament to the lives snuffed out in the name of loyalty. For the Alliance, the act of the burial was both a gesture of respect and a quiet defiance, honoring the Forsaken as individuals rather than tools of war that Sylvanas had made them. Yet the tragedy only deepened the rift between the factions, the blood-soaked soil of the Highlands seen as a grim reminder of their irreconcilable divide. Sylvanas, meanwhile, seized upon the gathering's collapse to tighten her hold over the Forsaken and solidify her narrative of isolation. Portraying the event as a treacherous alliance ploy to undermine the Horde, she spun the defections as proof of human duplicity. further alienating her undead subjects from their living counterparts. In the halls of the Undercity and the outposts like Hammerfall, she stoked the Forsaken's resentment, framing the Alliance and Kalia's intervention as an existential threat to their existence. The failed reunion became a rallying cry, a justification for her iron rule, and a wedge driven deeper between the Forsaken and any lingering ties to the human past. The memory of the Gathering, once a flickering of possibility, was twisted into a tool of division, ensuring that the Forsaken remained bound to Sylvanas' will, their gazes turned ever inward. The Western Highlands, where the Gathering unfolded and unraveled, stood as a silent witness to this dark chapter. The stretch between Stromgarde Keep and Thoradin's Wall, already scarred by centuries of strife, bore the weight of yet another betrayal. For the people of Arathi, be they Alliance, defenders at Refuge Point, or Horde loyalists at Hammerfall, the event cast a long shadow, reinforcing the region's legacy as a crucible of conflict. The graveyard of the fallen Forsaken, tended by Alliance hands, remained a quiet counterpoint to Sylvanas' triumph, a place where the cost of her authority was etched into the earth. As the Highlands endured, its history enriched by this latest tragedy, the Gathering lingered as a cautionary tale of hope extinguished, of unity undone, and of a war chief's unrelenting resolve to rule through fear and blood. Battle for Azeroth. The western reaches of Arathi Highlands erupted into a fierce warfront during the Fourth War, as the Alliance and Horde clashed in a brutal struggle for control of Stromgarde, the region's historic heart. This conflict, known as the Battle for Stromgarde, transformed the rolling hills and ancient ruins into a theater of relentless war, with both factions pouring resources and resolve into securing the kingdom's fate. The Horde, seeking to establish a dominant foothold, constructed a new stronghold called Ar-Garak on the site of the former Northfold Manor, a once quiet estate north of Stromgarde Keep. Hastily erected but heavily fortified, Ar-Garak bristled with orcish war machines, Forsaken plague wagons, and towering watchtowers, its position chosen to threaten Stromgarde from above and disrupt Alliance supply lines. Meanwhile, the Alliance, determined to reclaim their ancestral bastion, poured their efforts into renovating Stromgarde Keep. The crumbling fortress was revitalized with reinforced walls, bustling barracks, and command posts, transforming it into a formidable base of operations under the blue and gold banners of the Alliance. The battle for Stromgarde unfolded as a grueling contest of strategy and endurance, with the fate of the Highlands hanging in the balance. The Horde launched aggressive assaults from Ar-Garak, their warbands sweeping south to batter Stromgarde's defenses, while the Alliance countered with disciplined formations and devastating counterattacks. The Western Highlands became a scarred battlefield, its fields trampled and its air thick with the smoke of siege engines. Ultimately, the tide turned in the Alliance's favor, a victory forged through the exceptional leadership of Muradin Bronzebeard, Danath Trollbane, and High Exarch Turelion, alongside the unyielding tenacity of the soldiers who fought beneath them. Muradin, the grizzled dwarven warrior, brought tactical brilliance and unshakable resolve, directing artillery barrages that crippled Horde positions. Danath Trollbane, a native son of Stromgarde and a veteran of countless campaigns, inspired his troops with the fierce determination to reclaim his homeland, his presence a rallying cry for the kingdom's restoration. Turelion, wielding the light with righteous fury, bolstered the Alliance's ranks with both martial prowess and spiritual fortitude, turning the battle into a crusade for justice. The Alliance's triumph was decisive. Stromgarde Keep held firm, its renovated defenses proven impregnable, while Ar-Garak fell to relentless onslaught. The Horde stronghold was reduced to smoldering ruins, its wooden palisades shattered, its war machines silenced, and its defenders scattered or slain. The victory rippled across the Highlands, restoring the kingdom's various settlements, Refuge Point, Baldir's Cove, and others to Alliance control. Syndicate, ogres, and trolls who had plagued the region were pushed back, their influence diminished in the wake of Stromgarde's resurgence. With the battle won, the bulk of the Alliance forces returned to their homelands, Stormwind, Ironforge, and beyond, leaving only a small garrison behind as a precaution against future threats. Stromgarde, under Danath Trollbane's stewardship, served once more as a beacon of human resilience, its banners fluttering proudly over the reclaimed capital. In the aftermath, Stromgarde's newfound stability drew the attention of key figures. Matthias Shaw, the cunning spymaster of Stormwind and trusted agent of King Anduin Wrynn, arrived in the Highlands on a clandestine mission. Presenting himself to Danath Trollbane, Shaw sought permission to inspect the sanctum and the crypt within Stromgarde Keep, sacred and secretive chambers tied to the kingdom's history and the Trollbane lineage. Danath, recognizing Shaw's loyalty to the Alliance and perhaps sensing the weight of his task, granted his blessing, allowing the spy master to delve deep into the keep's shadowed recesses. What Shaw sought, whether intelligence on lingering threats or relics of Stromgarde's past, remained only known to him and his king, but his visit underscored the region's enduring significance in the Alliance's broader strategy. As peace settled uneasily over the Highlands following the Fourth War, Danath's vigilance never wavered. His outriders, patrolling the western hills and dusty roads, soon reported a curious sighting: an armed and cloaked woman traveling with a band of Horde refugees. This enigmatic figure moved through the region with purpose, piqued Danath's curiosity and concern. Recognizing the potential implications, he sent word to his old friend, Illyria Windrunner, who alongside her husband Turleon was riding through the Highlands in search of her sister, Sylvanas Windrunner, the deposed war chief whose actions had fueled so much of the recent strife. Timing of their presence was fortuitous, as Illyria's keen instincts and Turleon's light-blessed resolve made them ideal allies in unraveling this mystery. Whether the cloaked woman was Sylvanas herself, a remnant of her influence, or another player in the Highlands' ongoing saga, her appearance signaled that Arathi's respite might be short-lived. Under Danath's reign, Stromgarde stood ready, its victory hard-won, but its future ever shadowed by the specter of conflict. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Content comes out regularly, with lore videos on Sunday, ambiance videos on Monday, and World of Warcraft Protection Paladin content on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.